how is the mindset of the club with promotion pretty much within touching distance, and could of course happen as well without you even playing?
Well, I mean, it's first and foremost, it's a fantastic position to be in, of course. I mean, you come down to 2 games left with 4 points to play, and when it's in your hands, you can't really expect to anything else rather than being able to have it to do it yourselves. So we've got ourselves in a great position. Let's hope that obviously we can see it off at the weekend if possible.
And if it comes to Saturday, you're confident your boys can handle the pressure and do what's required, because of course Barnsley are really in trouble themselves and desperate for the 3 points too.
Well, in my experience with the Championship, it doesn't matter who you're going to play against. I mean, I think if you look at between top and bottom, the points difference is quite remarkable, So, and the teams at the bottom have put up a hell of a fight. I mean, usually 50 points is enough to keep you safe, and there's people on 51s and 52s and 53s who are still battling away from it. So it's all to play for. Barnsley need a result just as much as we do. So it's all to play for. But as I've said at the top of the interview there, we couldn't wish to be in a better position, really. And obviously we've got to try and see it through if we possibly can.
You've obviously worked in the Premier League, worked in the Championship. Now, what would it mean for you and the club to get back into the Premier League?
Well, we've only been there twice in the 104-year history of the club, so it'll be a wonderful. Everybody wants to be in the Premier League. That's why the Championship is so tense for everybody concerned when you're in it. The great thing about the Championship, it's such an even field. But to get and play in the big boys, that's where we all want to be. If you want to ply your trade anywhere, then it's up in that Premier League, and it's a wonderful, wonderful place to be. And it's as good as any league in the world, and if not the best league in the world. So to get there with Hull would be terrific for everybody concerned.
What do you think has been the secret of your success this season?
Well, I think there's a great resilience about them, and the squad itself. I mean, you look through it, and the squad itself has been particularly consistent. We've been able to cope with injuries to Aluko and Matty Fry in particular. I think that is I think that's been the key to it. The people who we've brought to the club of 7 or 8 of them have come and settled in very, very quickly, which obviously helps. That's not easy either. So all credit to the players, the way they've applied themselves, and as I've said, there's been a remarkable resilience about them all season, really. So I hope that, fingers crossed, we get that little bit of luck, what you need, and we can produce another performance which can get us over the line.
Just changing this subject slightly, Luis Suarez, of course, received a 10-match ban. How would you handle a player, if you were to have a player who was in similar circumstances, who'd done a similar thing, facing a lengthy ban? How would you deal with it?
Well, first and foremost, he's a wonderful footballer. I mean, there's no getting away from that. But, in my experience with Latin, we have something in our country. We've got a big horrible thing about spitting, where it's accepted in the Latin countries, if you like. I don't think we've ever really seen biting, so we're not used to it in this country. But certainly, if it was my play, I think you're obviously disappointed because we haven't seen it before in this country to that extent. But in my opinion, 10 games is a lot when you can see people elbowing people and getting fractured cheekbones and cut heads and all the rest of it. And for me, yes, it's disappointing that we see a player of his magnitude to go and do such a thing, but it seems very, very harsh. A penalty of 10 for me is a bit extreme.
You've been used to seeing penalties like this handed out in the past, of course, at United when Eric Cantona received a long ban for the incident involving Crystal Palace. Sir Alex stood by him and actually reaped the rewards, didn't it? Do you think Liverpool will stick by him? And how, with the way that Sir Alex and the club dealt with Cantona, do you think could maybe be learnt from this?
Well, of course, people are human and they make mistakes and they get caught up in the emotion of a football match. And we all do things. We've all played football and we come off and say, what the hell have I done that for? What had possessed me to go and do that? But it's part and parcel of the game. And certainly with the Eric situation, that was another one-off. But certainly then you need the backing. You need the backing for the employer. You admit your mistake, you take your punishment and you move on and you learn from it that, well, you can't do that again. But as I've said, you know, it's difficult. We all know it's difficult because it's such a rare thing for us to see somebody bite somebody in the Premier League. But you know, as I've said, I find that 10 games, you know, it just opens up what anything is, you know. And I think the rules are the rules, and you know, if it's violent conduct like they've charged him with, then of course it now leaves it very, very open, and it's grey. And when there's a grey area for rules to be flaunted, then I think that leads into trouble.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Steve. All the very best at the weekend.
No problem, thank you.